All right, so let's make a formal introduction for our listeners. Good morning. Well, good afternoon for you, Frank. My name is Claudio, and I'm calling you from Washington, D.C., from the studios in Fairfax City. We're very humble and grateful that Frank Fiedler accepted our invitation to a show. Frank, welcome to the show.
Yeah. Okay, nice to meet you.
Same here, Frank. Where are you? I know that you end up going to German Film and Television Academy in Berlin, but were you more like in a musical family? I mean, were you playing
No,
guitar, piano lesson, or anything like that when you were a little kid?
no, my father was the master of fine bakery
Yeah,
and had a shop, a baker shop in Kiel in North Germany.
yeah.
There's this harbor at Baltic Sea, big harbor, Kiel. And not very music or musical, or what is it called? I don't know. Not very music, but nice people. I mean,
Yeah.
and this came later with was Sidney Bechet. Do you know the name?
Sidney
There was the first jazz record I was 13 or 12 or 13 years
Yeah,
old,
yeah.
and that came from Paris. And this jazz inspired me. But 2 years later, I came to Mozart with Jupiter Symphony and things like this. And so it worked out to more come to the music things and to the picture things. I mean, my father, he had in the war, he was in the Mediterranean Sea, Sicily and Crete and things like this. And he had a little 8mm film camera.
Oh,
And made a lot of movies, what we saw as we grew up. I mean, I'm born 55, the darkest year of Germany. and then when I was 3 or 4 years old, I saw the first movies, from my father. And that may influence things also, for sure. And as a little child, I had this film stripes in my hand and saw the faces of the pictures, and it was fascinating for me until now.
wow. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, crazy. Now it's electronic, huh?
Yeah, what kind of music were you listening when you were in high school? In German, they call it gymnasium.
Well, how they call it?
Gymnasium, the high school in Germany.
Yeah.
What kind of music were you listening at the time?
Listening that time.
Yeah, what music was appealing for you?
What I told,
Yeah,
the early times, and then beginning of the 60s, suddenly there was a called Star Club in Kiel. And there the British, especially the British pop music came over. But the kind of tougher stuff, rock and roll, not rock and roll, it was rock, but blues rock.
Yeah.
Like the early Beatles and things like this. And there, I think it was 64 or 65, came Jimi Hendrix was there on stage before he get famous. And he also took his guitar and smashed it and lighted a fire on it and things like this, But we were like 18 years old or so, and we looked at it, crazy stuff, crazy music. And then the Beatles came up, the Stones came up, the Doors came up, all the stuff, Steamhammer, and Ainsley Dunbar. I loved Ainsley Dunbar. the early recordings, Mayan, all the people, and then the American music as well. But we were always in that times spread it out our senses, African music, Asian music. And you can hear it when you go through the earlier records of Popol Vuh, the influence of those instruments, you know, from Asia or from Africa, the drums, hand drums and things like this, and tambura, flutes, things like this. And it grew and grew.
Yeah. Why did you decide to go to the cinema school? I think you graduated from the German Film and Television Academy in Berlin, right?
Yeah.
You always wanted to do that?
Yeah. No, not always. When I was younger, I was influenced by the older, you know.
Yeah.
I had to get to free myself a little bit. I learned at Siemens here in Kiel, kind of workshop for, what is it called in English? Lehrlinge, also when you learn a really professional job, you know, in electronics and things like that. And I learned to build telephone networks, but at Siemens, the first years. And of course, I was a little forced from older ones to get an engineer.
Yeah.
But that wasn't my way. And then I saw, okay, the Film Academy opened, and I had a look at it, and it was very difficult to get in there. You know, it was a 1 week examination, was kind of hard, but then I got it, came in and finished it.
That's pretty good. And then at the time, what kind of when did you meet Florian?
We met a little later, 69, I think. I met Florian in late summertime. There was, interestingly, and when I was the first year I was at the Film Academy in Berlin,
yeah,
there was a woman suddenly in our workshop and asked for, and especially came to me and asked me for camera work.
Yeah,
we wasn't allowed to do this, you know. We were students, and but it was too good to do that, and I did it. And there was a portrait of Pasolini in Italy we made there.
Yeah, wow.
With Karin Ehret was the director. And about her influences, I met Florian. They were kind of friends, and he was there in her flat, and then we met there.
Yeah, wow. Do you
and where immediately we came to the Popol Vuh, to that old Spanish text, you know.
Yeah.
The original text.
But you knew
was an English translation and a German translation.
Oh, the Popol Vuh book, the book, yeah.
From the book of the Quiche Indians.
The Quiche, yes. Yeah. And who was reading that? You were reading or Florian?
Yeah, we had, the craziest thing was that we independently from each other read this book and came together about discussing about what they telling us there, you know.
Yeah.
Was kind of, I mean, Affenstunde is so much is a part of Abe's Hour is the translation, the direct translation. and it's a part of this myth, of this evolving myth of the Quiche Indian culture of very early former times. I have a new translation now from it, but I hadn't the time to read it till now, but I will do.
It's a new, you say it's a new book that came out? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a new, very new, scientific, motivated translation and the newest things about the language and things like this.
Oh, I see.
And I think they found some, what was it, like rolls, like pergaments or so, where with original Indian language signs and glyphs. And because what we had was the Spanish translation of a monk from, I don't know, 1700 or so, around this time. He asked those people and let them tell the story, the shamanic people who know the old heritage. And he wrote it down, and from this, they in the 20s or so, they made a German translation and an English translation.
Yeah.
Who was his name? Saragun was one of those monks. They were kind of people. They were a little more friendly to the Indian people there in South America, you know.
Yeah.
There was another side too.
Yeah. And then, so you were reading the book, Florian was reading the book, and then after that, I think Holger came into the picture. How Holger get connected with you guys?
Holger, that was from the scene in Munich here. This uprising, you know, suddenly what also happened here in Germany, the hippie time, the big music movement, and the movie movement itself, yeah, too, was kind of a new wave of all those medias. And there Holger was flying around, you know, and also we met him, and so we came together about talking together, drinking together, running together, playing together, especially.
That was in 1969, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we started in later 69, yeah.
And then, so you met Florian, you went to his flat, and you talk a lot about pool, a lot of the book, and then eventually you decided let's form a group and call it Popol Vuh. That was the idea.
It wasn't a real group in that sense.
Yeah,
I mean we weren't a kind of rock and roll boys or something like this. It was more a project, I would say.
And then, how long after that? Because you were flying at the time all over the world with the film school and doing different projects, right? So how?
Yeah, also in Colombia.
you were in Colombia, in Sweden, USA, Nepal, Tibet, Greece, Spain. You were everywhere.
Yeah, kind of. Lot of, not in Eastern Asia. I never got this space. But Nepal was the most east part I experienced. Crazy. When you see those movie stuff, this movie stuff I work with now, it's just like you are on another planet, you know. This is kind of crazy. What a city like Kathmandu looked like 94.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised too. I did a lot of projects in between, and then I came back to this old material. Fortunately, I had transferred it from this old analog cassettes to digital cassettes.
Yeah.
And so there was a kind of original quality, kind of good. And but now today you have possibilities to fix it up, making it a little. It's some programs. It's not making it sharper, the pictures. It's making them deeper and more details.
I see.
That's crazy. AI
Yeah.
programs.
Yeah.
Funny. I was kind of surprised, I have to say.
Did you like Colombia?
What?
Colombia. Did you like Colombia?
Yeah, in a way, yeah. Well, kind of a little stressy.
Yeah.
So we were at Cartagena,
Yeah.
at the Caribbean Sea there.
Yeah.
And the military people, they came to the nightclubs there and controlled us suddenly, And I mean, some of us, they had a little box with grass also.
Yeah.
Oh, it was kind of difficult. But they never catch us. And so, we made a traveling down the coast to Venezuela. And there's a part of Colombia that's a kind of desert. We made some shooting there. And when we drove back, I mean, there was a real adventure. In the night, this roads, and then a bearing of the old Chevy broke in the middle of the night, and we had to go to what is it? The city, bigger city, Barranquilla.
Barranquilla, yeah.
Barranquilla, and to the edge of Barranquilla, there was a workshop. There was light, some people, and we we came with our old Chevy there that played a role in the movie, and they fixed it in 1 hour.
Wow. Very good.
It was crazy. We were very grateful.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in the night, there were on the street and on the road there, close to this. What is this massive mountain massif? The famous name in the way. A good grass came from there. There were Indians running down the road in the night with a Kalashnikov on the back. And we drove by sideways, Jum. I mean, nothing happened.
Yeah.
It was okay in a way, but a little irritation.
Yeah, I know. So Florian was a very talented pianist.
Yeah.
He won several classic competition, right? Classic music competition. He
was
an unbelievable pianist.
His education was total classic.
But why he ended up? What happened that he ended up stopping that career?
Don't ask me. I don't know really. I think he was also very inspired from this new wave of music that came up over the 60s around the world. And this time, this classic education, and when you have to your goal what to get to the peak of it, it was a kind of too hard. So what we are searching for, I mean, when we were kind of hippie-minded, you know, in a way. Okay, with a good taste and everything, but that was a new world, and we wanted to be part of this new, younger world.
Yeah, and then I think when at the time when when you met Florian, he got a hold of the Moog synthesizer in Germany, right?
Oh yeah, the Moog 3.
Yeah, and how because there were only, I think, only a couple in Germany, right?
This time there were 2 in Germany, and the other one was in the house beside Florian's house.
How?
Was his name Schöner? No, what was his name? He has also a farmhouse outside of Munich, and
Yeah.
Florian too, with his wife. And they lived close together. And there Florian saw this machine, and he thought, oh, I also have to have one to start in this new world.
But because it was very expensive, right?
For this times, it was expensive, especially here in Germany. But I mean, they had the money. What was it? 30,000 marks or so. I don't know exactly. But today it would be $100,000 or so.
Yeah, expensive, you know.
Yeah. It was kind of really expensive for these times.
Yeah.
But
So
Florian is himself, he hadn't no money. I mean, he never had a lot of money. Sometimes a little more. But other people around him were kind of rich.
Yeah. And then
we got the money.
But how? So he used to live. He was living like in a farm outside Munich, right?
Yeah, and also in Munich.
And then, so his neighbor had another one.
Eberhard Schöner was the name. He's a famous composer in Europe here. Eberhard Schöner.
I need to look it up.
Yeah. A kind of crazy guy too, and he bought it first because he was more classic in the classic scene and made a lot of money there with compositions and things like this, and media events, and especially later he made some big media events where he played over whole landscapes, like 2 square kilometers or something like that, 1 square mile or so, with light and big PAs and projections and things like this, and also live musicians, and run worldwide. I think it was a thing that they broadcasted around the world in these times. It was in the 80s, end of the 80s. Things like this, in the 90s maybe. I don't know exactly. It was a kind of, I wasn't so involved in this.
Yeah.
But Eberhard Schöner, he was the first who had the Moog 3. This 4 black boxes with a keyboard.
It didn't have like a manual, right, to read how to use it, right?
Oh no, it was a kind of explaining. Because you picked it together with cables, the modules.
Yeah.
Modules.
Module, yeah.
And so they were named, you know, oscillator 1, oscillator 2, and you stuck in a cable, plugged in, and went to the filter bank or something like this, and so on and so on and so on. We made complicated. We worked together, Florian and me, at this machine for 2 years or so. And well, we were plugging, and making sounds. Later, we got a little crazy about it because there was a crazy machine. I mean, you could really damage your hearing, your ears.
Really?
Yeah. It was this had a kind of a ribbon band and the little upside of the keyboard. And when you rubbed left, right, suddenly the machine went up to the fifth or so, or the fourth, what is it called? Octave.
Octave, yeah.
Well, there was some kind of heavy sound suddenly in the room, and we pulled the plug, you know, to get rid of this sound. And you had to, it was not programmable at this, like you can do it today.
Yeah.
Not really programmable. You had always, every day you had to make a new conditioning of the plug things you made with the cables.
Wow, amazing. And
but I mean, it was also very inspiring.
Yeah. And then after, so this is feel free, and this is the first album that you guys put together, right?
Right.
And also, who was Bettina? Bettina is right here.
No. This was a girl. She lived there in this farmhouse too. It was very big house, and an old bishop's sit, and from where Gottlieb Lehndorff was the owner, kind of famous here in Germany, the Lehndorffs.
Yeah.
And they rented. They rented. They vermieten. Anyway, we had 2 rooms there, and there lived other people too.
Yeah.
And this girl was one of those people also living there.
Oh, he wasn't.
And the other guy is Holger Trülzsch.
This guy. Yeah.
This guy at the left. Yeah, right.
This is a beautiful picture.
Yeah. This is Baumburg. This is a Baroque church close to this place where we lived there at the country, kind of 20 kilometers or so.
Yeah. And that's the picture of the Moog, right? That's the one.
Yeah. That's the Moog 3.
Wow, amazing, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's also today, this unbeatable, this machine.
Really?
They made a new edition of it today, and you can buy it for $40,000 or so dollars. And this is even finer than the old one, but the same systematic. Also with the plug cables and things like this. And it's very nice to work with it. You are very open in the structure.
I think Bettina did the cover design, the production, and you were with the synthesizer mixdown, and I think Bettina was doing the tablas, right?
I don't know what it really was. Maybe, just we mixed it often. We mixed it together. Some did this. We also had microphones there in the rooms where we lived there.
Yeah.
And we had 2 Revox machines with 36 centimeters per second. a studio norm, and we had two big amplifiers and speakers and things like this. It was important for the Moog 3, you know, to have a good sound and fill the room, and but also make tapes from it, record it spontaneously in the night when we came up, sometimes in the morning.
Really?
Yeah, that was also a kind of first time you could do it, because in the years before, the decade before, that was only reachable in big studios, you know, and cost a lot of money. And suddenly there were those machines you could take to your home and also have studio quality. And okay, the finish we always did in a professional studio.
Yeah. And then what was the record? It was the big tapes, or was it cassette at the time?
No, it was they used in the studios. The first Afterstunde we made,
yeah,
there only were 8-track machines.
8-track machine. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, there was before the 24-track machines came.
Yeah,
it was 2 to 3 years later. Suddenly there were 24-track machines.
yeah.
It was this time where it broke up to a more modern technology. But the very first Afterstunde is made on a 8-track, and it was, I think it was 1-inch tape. And I mean the final mix down was on 18th inch, small tape, stereo.
Yeah. Are the original recording still? Who has that? The original tape. Who are they still around or no?
A lot of stuff we have, yeah.
The master.
But we went to a studio. I have a machine here, an old machine,
yeah,
and things like this. We did it several times and digitized it.
Yeah.
To modern standards, and from this we are working.
Yeah, I got it.
Not from the old tapes. The old tapes, I did it to metal boxes, like Faraday's cages, you know.
Yeah.
Faraday's cages. To maybe one has to go back with an old machine and play with it, but not now. We have all the stuff digitized. I have it here in my machine, extra hard disk, some extra hard disk, and Johannes also. Okay, you have to save it in a way, you know, and you have to have it on different hard disk and things like this. You know the business.
Yeah, Johannes is not a musician, right? No, he's not.
What is it?
Johannes.
What is with Johannes?
Is he a musician too? No. He studied music?
No, he is curator for art.
Oh.
This is his main work.
Main job, right? Yeah.
Main job. He made exhibitions for modern art, and very high. He made it in Los Angeles. He made it in New York, and London, Paris, and now he is doing it in Munich and the main thing, Berlin.
In Berlin, yeah. And what would when you guys, you know, end up releasing, of course, no about the tape, how was the market, the people, the audience? People like that? It was very strange, very weird type of music too.
Yeah, I mean, we
1970, right?
We never were at a stage we weren't a live act. It was a project, but it was a kind of this Affenstunde had a kind of really lot of buyings, or hits, like people say today.
Yeah.
There's just a question about the fame of Popol Vuh. Yeah, I mean, maybe the Italians and the French people liked it more than the German people.
Really?
Yeah. In Italy, it's crazy. When we came to Italy, Florian and we did something working there with Popol Vuh. And I mean, they carried us on their hands, you know. We were it was a big adoration, or what is it?
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah, Verehrung.
There are no many live recording of Popol Vuh, right?
Yeah, that was kind of rare.
Very rare, yeah.
Like,
I think I saw only twice in YouTube, somewhere.
With Danny and another guy from Amandieu, they had a gig, in Milano, I think. And here in Munich, they had something where Chris Carrer, he played with Florian and Danny at one cultural house here in Munich. No, they had two gigs here at audience. But usually we were home and studio workers, you know, and traveling workers.
So a year later, the second album came out, I think, In the Garden, Pharaohs. In the Garden of the Pharaoh.
Garden of Pharaoh, yeah.
Yeah. I think it was a year later. And yeah, you were involved with Holger and Frank, and then Fritz did the album cover. Well, and Steven Meltzer did the photography. Huh?
There was There was this first formation. Holger Trülzsch, Florian Fricke, Frank Fiedler.
Yeah.
We made these two records, and then the stuff changed.
What did? Yeah, I don't have that. What happened? Why was the change?
Oh, what was the evolution of sound? And Florian, he went back more again to analog instruments. The phase with Moog 3 was finished in a way. We came back. Yeah, we came some years, 2, 3, 4 years later. We came back, and for half a year or so, we used the machine again for some moods we wanted to have. But that was another thing. It was never used in the music again in that style. Also, except for the film musics for Herzog. There we used the Moog again in the, what was it, 74 or so.
Yeah. So he went back to the analog way of doing things, right?
Yeah, that was Florian. I mean, I can understand when you are after 2 years, that was okay. It was enough. The Moog was finished. We had it through.
Yeah, and then you were at the time you were traveling for
I made movies,
photography, and as filming. You were going to a lot of different countries at the time. So you were in Germany and then disappear for 2 months, 3 months, and then come back to
mainly United States at this times, but I mean mainly in Germany, but on very different locations and very different expectations or so. for what people wanted to do. It was from feature movies to TV serial stuff. I did everything because I wanted to get some money.
Yeah.
And I mean, okay. I learned a lot of people, a lot about the business, making movies. And then there was 75 or so. Like the first time I made a movie in Colombia and in New York.
Yeah.
We made with Al Hansen. You know, have you heard about Al Hansen?
No.
Al Hansen or Hansen, I don't know. He is a famous guy from the Andy Warhol scene and so on, and New York.
Wow.
And the director of that movie we made in Colombia and in New York, he hired Al Hansen. he traveled with us. Crazy guy. Well, kind of bad movie. a real B movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then in 72, Oceana Mantra. That's
yeah,
a very good
third.
album.
That's the third record.
The third album, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's a 72, yeah?
Yeah, 1972. Yeah.
Yeah. I got a job with cinema.
Yeah.
And went away. The first 2 months or so, I worked with Florian at this, and then I had to go because I was not playing an instrument or so then. We had this connection. Okay, one thing was about the name and the book of Popol Vuh, and one thing was about the Moog 3, you know, about the technology of this new instrument. There we had our connection, Florian and I. And later we came together about friendship and our soulmate, what is it called? Soulmateship. Our thoughts about the world and the politics and all the things where we agreed in a way.
And then from that particular album, there are new musicians. There was Conny by Robert.
Conny Veit, yeah. This crazy guitarist. He was. I had a fine feeling for great riffs and Florian's sound bed, you know. And the piano lines, and he was kind of ideal. What Conny did, but I wasn't that close in that time. I met all those people, but I wasn't so involved because I really did a lot of film work in this time.
Yeah, and then there's Robert Eliscu played the oboe.
Yeah, this was the guy, the name I was looking for, Robert Eliscu. He's dead too now. Yeah, wow. Accident and something, I don't know.
And Klaus Wiese played the tambura.
Yeah, also dead.
Man, everybody's dead.
We're all getting older and older.
I'm getting old too.
Yeah, we're all. It looks like an old rule, yeah. Old law of the nature that we getting older.
Yeah. So you were not involved with the music that much, but you still kept the friendship with the Florian.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I mean, we later worked on Popol Vuh projects, a lot of them.
Yeah.
It's what was it? Altogether, 10, 12 records.
Yeah.
And 2 movies.
Yeah.
And things like this.
How is to work with? Feel free to describe Florian as a person. How it was complicated. It was easy to get along. A lot of fight, discussion.
In a way, we had the same caliber.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
And so I had you have some credit then, you know, and you're not that one has to pay or so. Well, that was okay. We both were not without complications. And sometimes, but I think it's completely normal that when you go into a complex work, that sometimes there are points where it's cracking a little bit and it's rubbing and not so nice. But usually we came together in a good way, I must say. We were kind of very reasonable.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Then in '73, is this album came about.
Yeah.
And I really like it. I like the pictures and everything. And
for this, we started with Keller tapes.
Really?
Yeah. I got a little money, and I bought a Sony 4-track for it, and a mix box. 6 channels, stereo. The first time you can buy things like this was a little expensive in these times, but it was reachable. And with this 4-track machine, we made in the cellar of Florian's house, down there under earth, there was the Bechstein piano. And there we made the first tracks of it. And then we went to the studio with these tracks. And then they transferred it to the 24-track machine.
Wow.
And then I had a job for making movies again and went out of the studio work with Florian. We met later then for the end mixing, I think. And there are a lot of singing Florian did.
Yeah.
And this he did in West Germany, I think, in the Dieter Dirks studio, things like that. I don't know the real name of the studio. And some of the end mixing was done in Bavaria studio, I think, here in Munich. But I cannot say it exactly.
And Danny got involved with that. Daniel was the first time that he got involved with that album, right? Yeah.
Yeah. They shared first time. They shared the guitar playing with Veit first. I mean, with Veit. There was a name. Conny Veit.
Conny was playing.
Conny also did some guitars on this record, and then Danny came to it. But I wasn't that involved that I really can tell stories about it. You know.
Yeah, Danny was playing drums at the time and percussion.
Maybe the first time, and then he started also to play guitar.
Yeah.
But he played guitar before, I mean, at Armandul or so, I don't know.
Armandul, yeah. So you got a new job with the film and you disappear, come back, get a new job, and disappear. You were going. Yeah. The next one that I have is I can't remember. Yeah, Danny here. This is from 1974 now.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah,
Huh?
This is what is it? Einziger Siebenjäger. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was sometimes I met the people sitting around with them in the studio, but I was more. That was more for Florian. It was kind of important to have somebody close to him at this working times that was a little bit intellectually or so on the eye height, the same.
Yeah.
And like we say in Germany, Augenhöhe, the same eye height. And so you can imagine, that when somebody is it's kind of this special work, he needs somebody close to him to talk with, to check, to hear in the evening, to hear the what is it called, the Probe, die Probebänder, from the day what you did in the studio, they copied it to a little cassette, and we took it to our home, and then we heard it through, and 10 times or so, and drinking wine. And then we had the inspiration for the next day. And for this, Florian needed me.
Yeah. Because he wanted to make sure that that you can see eye to eye, right? And that the quality was good. A different, independent opinion,
in a way,
to make sure the quality was good and the
and when you're very close to your own composition work, sometimes you're losing
absolutely
the measure of how it's going to an audience and things like this. Always it's good to have some body or more other people. I mean, was every time when we finished a recording in the studio, we first went to our people and showed it. So made a little event and played the music to have a response. This is, I think it's normal for a lot of people making music. Also with the movie business, sneak previews.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Where were you at the time traveling? I mean, was Popol Vuh popular or outside Germany? Like you say, Italy and where
France.
In France?
Yeah. That corresponded, I mean, I think also with the Werner Herzog movies and the Popol Vuh sounds in it.
Yeah.
And that worked together. And so the vinyls came in and the movies came in and they loved it. Also in Great Britain and at the East Coast in the United States. And later, when I lived in Los Angeles for kind of half a year, and also there, they knew Popol Vuh.
Really?
Yeah. There was special people from the business, from the media.
Right.
Not in what's those workers or so much. They had other professions. But there in Hollywood, well, I met a lot of people that knew, and what was it called? There was a big record store and Wilshire Boulevard, and he said, no, record tower also. And there was a display with Popol Vuh recordings.
Wow.
Well, 6, 7 different ones, vinyls. and upcoming CDs.
The next one, Aguirre.
There's a movie music.
Yeah, we're not talking about 1976.
76.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why they so
I was on the other side of the earth.
where were you at the time?
Yeah, 76. I don't know. I think I made my main business was camera for TV series
At the time, yeah.
And it was just, it's eating you up, you know. You have no time for other stuff.
Aguirre obviously is a word in Spanish. Why they
Aguirre is a person.
Yeah, but it doesn't exist in.
It's a historical person.
That's what they
don't ask me.
That's what they end up calling that Aguirre.
For this, you have to ask Werner Herzog.
Yeah, we're talking about that was, I think I was, of course, what that's used for the soundtrack to Werner Herzog, right? The Aguirre, the Wrath of God, right?
Yeah. By the way, one of the best compositions Florian did, and other as movie music.
Yeah, of course.
Soundtrack. Because when this little army coming down the hills there in the jungle, and this crazy sound is leading them down and things like this. Kind of very emotional pictures.
Oh, I have seen
deep
several of the Werner Herzog movies, and of course that was the first one that you can see the music from Popol Vuh and very very good movie. Yeah,
Herzog always was excited about Florian's compositions, and he really liked it.
Yeah, there was another person involved also in the other record called in the vocal, Djong Yun.
Yeah. She's a Korean girl. But her father was a famous composer from Korea and Southern Korea, and she studied, I think, in the music academy in Munich. Florian met her there, things like this. I'm not sure. But then she came to Popol Vuh, and she made different records with Popol Vuh.
Yeah.
3 or so. And some singles too.
And then with that, right, obviously with Aguirre, right, now Werner Herzog was well known at the time, and people that used to go and see his movies, right, they started appreciating Popol Vuh. Man, this music is very good. Who are the Popol Vuh? And Popol Vuh, then became a lot more popular all over the world.
Yeah, for sure. That helped. That's a different business. Huh? Music scores, like Zimmer did also for the big movies. That makes people like him very famous in a way, and also Florian. I mean, Florian got in contact with big producers in this time after the Herzog music. But unfortunately, this one guy, what was his name? He came from Italy, but he produced in the United States, I think. Unfortunately, he crashed down with a plane and died in a plane crash. And then there was that ripped the whole thing away from Florian, and he just started to make a composition for a big movie of this guy.
Wow.